So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the daily shred, or maybe more appropriately, the monthly shred at this point. But we're doing what we can, man. We're trying to get this out to you guys as often as we can, and as often as I think that you need it. And so, I would say, I don't know, I would say once about every 4 to 6 weeks is probably pretty good. And so, welcome to the show today. I hope you guys are having a great day out there. What I want to talk about here today is how to use cardio to boost fat loss. So how do I use my cardio activities, right? My HIIT, my lifts, etc. How do I use these things strategically to boost my fat loss or to supplement my fat loss endeavors? Well, let's talk about that for the next, 6, 7, maybe 28 minutes. The best way that you can support what I'm trying to do here with the channel, what I'm trying to do here with F Cubed in general, is comment down below. That would be the best way to support what we're trying to do. And I would love to get to know you. I would love to connect with you and answer any questions you have or read the emojis that help to showcase the feelings that you are emoting at this very moment in time. So there are three pieces to the fat loss puzzle, right? There are three things that we're always trying to balance, that we're always trying to, work with to achieve whatever physique goals we might have. There is nutrition, there is weight training, and there's cardio training. Now, of course, there are other things, like sleep, like recovery, right? Like hormones, but nobody really cares about how much testosterone they have. Nobody really cares about how well their thyroid might be or might not be functioning. So I think we can put those things on the shelf for today. All kidding aside, those things do matter. Those things are incredibly important. But for the purposes of the shred today, let's go ahead and put those things on the shelf. We'll pull them back down one day, 4 or 5 weeks from now when we do our next episode. But cardio training, so your cardio activities, your cardio, endeavors, right? The things that you're trying to do with your cardio training, your HIIT sessions, your list sessions, these things need to be supplemental to the other two. They need to work in tandem with your nutrition and your weight training. They need to be supplemental to your nutritional strategy and your weight training strategy. Now, let me be really clear about something. Some people just really enjoy doing cardio, right? Like some people just feel really good when they're doing a little bit of cardio. It doesn't matter if it's lifts, doesn't matter if it's HIIT, whatever it might be. I'm actually one of those people. I don't really like to have seasons of training where I'm not doing any cardio at all. I understand that it might be optimal, right? Optimal, hashtag, evidence-based, right? I understand that. I understand that I want to, earmark and channel all of my energies towards my weight training because I'm trying to get huge, I'm trying to get massive, I'm trying to, maximize my muscular development. I understand all of that. But when it comes to actually putting things into action, when it comes to the actual practicality of what it is that I'm trying to do and what it is that I'm trying to implement, it just doesn't work as well. I tend to feel much better when I'm doing even just a little bit of cardio. I'm talking about a couple of walks a week. I'm talking about a couple of HIIT sessions per week. I'm not talking about a ton of cardio. I'm not even talking about, daily cardio. I'm talking about just a little bit of cardio to kind of keep the wheels greased a little bit. I tend to feel better when I'm doing a little bit of cardio. Maybe you're the same way too. But we still have to be very, very careful. We have to be very, very careful if we're trying to maximize our fat loss, if we're trying to boost our fat loss efforts, right? And make our, efforts as efficient and as effective as we possibly can, then we have to be aware of a couple of things. Number one, we all have this baseline, right? We all have this baseline level of activity that our bodies are used to, that our metabolic capacities are used to, that our systems are just accustomed to processing, for lack of a super scientific phrase. You can tell there's a whole lot of bro science going on today, but let's be honest, guys. Bro science is the only science. You have a baseline of how much activity your body is used to, right? If you go hog wild and just start doing a bunch of cardio, then what is naturally going to happen? that baseline is going to increase. Now, you're going to be burning more calories, you're going to be expending more energy, so you're, of course, going to achieve more fat loss or less fat gain, depending on which side of the pendulum you might be swinging on at that moment in time. But still, your baseline is going to go higher, right? Your foundational level of activity is going to increase. And so what does that mean? That means that when you stall out, when you hit a plateau, which sadly, spoiler alert, we all hit plateaus. We all stall out. We all hit sticking points, at one time or another. Like if you're going to, if you're going to lose 45 pounds, right? If you've got 35, 45 pounds to lose, you're not going to lose that in a straight line. You know that. You're not going to lose this in 8 weeks. You know that. What's going to happen? You're going to have to, engage in a 16, 20, 25, 30-week endeavor to lose a significant chunk of weight. Well, what is that going to look like? It's going to go down in kind of a stepwise fashion. It's probably going to look a whole lot more like that, but it's not going to go down in a straight line, right? You're going to have periods, 2, 3, 4-week periods where you lose weight pretty consistently, and then you're going to stall. Then you're going to have periods where you lose weight pretty consistently, and then you're going to stall. That's just very natural weight loss over time. Well, guess what? When you hit those sticking points, right, when you stall out, right, when you find yourself in a situation where you're like, man, my body has found its new equilibrium. I have to do something. I have to, motivate my body to get smaller. I have to coax my fat cells to shrink a little bit, right? Because that's what I'm trying to do when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to physique development, from a getting leaner standpoint. Well, guess what? That's not just going to happen, right? Like you have to actually do something. You have to either start doing more or eating less, to put it very simply, right? You have to either start, burning more calories or consuming fewer calories. So you tip the energy equation back in your favor. And so if your baseline level of cardio is already really high because you just love cardio, right? LUV, love cardio. Then you're going to have to do even more. So you're going to have to push even harder. You're going to have to go even higher with that baseline. And at some point, we'd run out of time, right? At some point, there aren't any hours left in the day. Right, I mean, I'm married, been married for 11 years, almost 12 years now. I've got 3 small children. I have approximately 8 free minutes every month. And so I have to be very strategic with how I allocate those 8 free minutes. Right? And so you might find yourself in a similar situation. And if that happens to be the case, then you need to be aware of this. You need to be strategic, right? You got to plan these things out and be really thoughtful with how you apply and approach your training. And so the first thing you want to be aware of when it comes to using cardio for fat loss and to boost fat loss is you probably want to throttle it back a little bit, right? You guys know I'm all about going full throttle, right? Hashtag full throttle fat loss, my digital fat loss course that of course you can find linked to down in the description. If you want to throw me some of those internet monums, I will take them. But you need to be thoughtful. You need to be strategic about this, right? And so you don't want to push too high, too hard, too quickly, because if you do, then you're going to find yourself behind the 8 ball in a situation where you don't have any time left, you don't have any energy left, you're stalled out from a fat loss standpoint, and there's kind of nowhere to go. You're kind of stuck, right? So that's the first thing that you want to be aware of. The second thing that you want to be aware of is more activity, just any type of activity. This could be cardio, this could be weight training, this could be yard work, right? This is any type of activity. The more activity that you constantly put your body through, the more activity that you constantly engage your body with, might be a better way to say that. Putting your body through activity. That's a little weird. That's a little clunky, but hey man, we're doing it. We're putting it out there and seeing what happens. Your cortisol levels, right? They're going to rise. This is otherwise known as, on the streets, as the stress hormone, right? So when your cortisol levels rise, which is a natural thing, it is a healthy function of our bodies. Our cortisol levels, have to rise when we perform activity. But if they're chronically elevated, if they're chronically on the rise, because we're doing so much activity, hashtag cardio, then our stress levels are super high. Our body's going to feel like it's constantly under attack. Our body's going to feel like it's constantly under stress. And here's a little pro tip. Your body ain't interested in getting shredded if it constantly feels like it's under attack, right? Your body's not going to want to, shed those fat cells or shrink those fat cells if it constantly feels like, man, I don't know what's going on. I'm constantly being asked and, required to do this activity, right? Whether it be a training session, whether it be a hit session, whether it be the yard work that my wife keeps making me do, whatever it is, right? It's not a good environment for you to get in really, really great shape. So you need to manage this. You need to be aware of this, right? And if you do a ton of cardio, any type of cardio, list or hit, it doesn't really matter. You could find yourself in a situation where your cortisol levels are chronically spiked. Now, to be fair, there is going to come a time when you are going to have to do a truckload of cardio, right? Having competed for many, many bodybuilding shows over the years, I know this to be true. There is going to come a time when you get towards the end of the road, boys to men style, you are going to have to do a ton of cardio to reach your objective. If your objective is getting really, really lean. It's just the way that it is. It's what you ultimately have to sign up for. There's really not too many ways around it. Now, there are some, genetically gifted individuals that don't have to do a ton of cardio and they can get in really great shape, but by and large, they are the exception and not the rule. And so there's going to come a time when you're going to have to say, cortisol be damned, I just have to do a ton of cardio. That's going to happen. But you want to kick the can down the road for as long as you can, right? You want to postpone that situation for as long as you possibly can. It's coming. There is no way around it. Well, let's try to wait until, it's the last 5 pounds or the last 10 pounds, not the middle 20 pounds, right? This is one of the areas where I think a lot of people kind of go off the beaten path and they kind of go, wrong, for lack of a better phrase, where they get going, they get started, they get some momentum, but then they start to do too much too soon. And then they stall out, they get frustrated, they realize, man, I'm already doing so much, I can't possibly do any more. And then the next thing you know, they have to hit the reset button, because the Asian buffet was calling them, and then they're right back to square one, or square zero, or square -1, which is actually where a lot of people find themselves, myself included, for many, many experiences and trials in my own history. So I know what this feels like. I'm with you guys, man. I know what this feels like. I know, what the experience entails. So what we want to do is we want to be strategic with how we use cardio to boost fat loss, right? We want to be strategic with how we approach our cardio sessions to, to aid our fat loss along the way. And so how do we actually do the cardio? Like, how do we actually perform the cardio activities? What is going to give us the biggest bang for our buck? So I'll kind of close out the shred today with this. It actually doesn't really matter. It actually doesn't really matter if you do hit or you do list. It actually doesn't make that big of a difference. Now, I'm a huge hit fan. I've been a hit fan for many, many years, and I actually thought that hit, kind of gave a little bit of an advantage. I kind of thought that hit, kind of gave us a little bit of an edge over list because, your metabolic rate would be increased, and, once you push past, that 90% of max output range, you pick up a little extra fat loss. I don't know if that's true anymore, given some of the recent research that's come out that shows, hit and list, it might really just be all about calories. I'm kind of back into a boat where it doesn't really matter. If you want to do hit, if you want to do list, it's not really going to make, that big of a difference. So I would do the cardio that you enjoy. I would do the cardio that you will actually do, and to help you decide how much you should do and how much would be appropriate for you to do and maybe which activity to choose, here are a couple of things to think about. Number one, if you don't have a lot of time in your schedule right now, so maybe you are very busy, maybe you have children, maybe you have a job, maybe you have multiple jobs, right? Maybe you're just in a season of life that is extremely demanding and very, very busy. If that's the situation, then I would strongly encourage you to consider doing hit cardio because it doesn't take as much time, right? For effectively the same cardio output, and there still might be that tiny little bit of an edge. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of clinging on to that. I don't know. I don't even know if it's there anymore. But man, old habits die hard, and that's kind of at the heart of bro science. So when it comes to your schedule, right? If you don't have a lot of time, then I would definitely choose hit cardio as my option. If you do have more time, then you could consider some list cardio. Walking outside is a great option. We now live in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's sunny 358 days out of the year. It feels amazing outside most of the time. So to go walk outside, feel the sun, feel the air, enjoy, nature is a very, very pleasant experience. I personally really, really enjoy that. And so I tend to go, on walks for my list right now, and that's just my preferred, mode of cardio activity. Now, how much should you do? I would definitely not do any more than 2 HIIT sessions per week. This is what I suggest all of the athletes inside of Full Throttle do when they start off on their fat loss journeys. So I'm going to suggest that you guys do the same thing. I would do 6 to no more than 8 intervals per session and only 2 sessions per week. You know, like a blast coast cycle might look like, 15 seconds on, 1 minute off. 15 seconds on, 75 seconds off. So each kind of round is like 90 seconds, right? The bike is a great option for this. The elliptical is not a bad option for this, but it can be really hard on your knees. So I'd be very, very careful with that. I tend to opt for the bike as my favorite apparatus for HIIT cardio because it's basically no impact on your joints at all. And so it can be really, really nice. You can really blast it and go super, super hard and super, super fast without too many negative repercussions. 2 HIIT sessions per week. I wouldn't do any more than that. If you're doing lists, I would do 2 to 3 walks per week. You could even just monitor your steps per day, right? Like just go for a step goal every day, right? I mean, you might have a Fitbit. Everybody has a smartphone. There's plenty of free apps that you can download and try to get 7,000 steps a day. Try to get 9,000 steps a day. Try to get 10,000 steps a day. And that could be how you kind of keep track of your list cardio over time. It's effectively going to have the same result as, just focusing on, 3 30-minute walks a week or whatever. If you're hitting X number of steps every week, then you know that you're going to be, in good shape when it comes to your list cardio goals. And so that's how I would use cardio to boost fat loss. That's how I would, use cardio as kind of this, this supplemental aid to what you're trying to do with your nutrition, what you're trying to do with your weight training. And yeah, man, I don't know. I think that's about it, guys. I think we did it. I think we did it today. I think for the monthly shred, we got a couple of things done today, and so I think that that's good. I think that that's positive. If you guys made it this far into the shred, hey, thank you guys so much. I am so appreciative of your time. I'm so appreciative of your attention. I know that you guys have so many other opportunities that you could use to spend your time and to invest, your precious resources that are inside of your schedule. And so I'm very, very thankful that you're hanging with me here today whenever you have a chance to, check this out. And so that's it, guys. I would love to know what you think. I would love to know what you guys thought about this episode. So drop me some comments down below. If you guys are brand new to the channel, hey, please consider subscribing. We do a lot of fitness stuff on the channel. We do a lot of faith stuff on the channel. We have some finance things that are in the works that might be coming out kind of TBD in the future. But I do so many finance things with Tasty Trade that I'm primarily using F Cubed for the fitness arm and the faith arm of the cube. We'll leave the other cube a bit dormant for right now. Kind of like those hormones earlier, right? Like testosterone, thyroid, finance. It's all kind of the same thing for our purposes here inside of the cube. So you guys are amazing. I hope you guys have a really great day, and I will see you guys next time.